Hi, I'm Bill McLoughlin, Editor-in-Chief of Furniture Today. Welcome to this week's edition of Frontline Friday. This will be our last edition before Thanksgiving. So from all of us here at Progressive Business Media and Furniture Today, we wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. I'd like to talk to you this week a little bit about the internet and about disruption. I know that that's a buzzword. If you read my column a couple of weeks ago, I try to avoid buzzwords, but it's a little hard to avoid that one. So one of the points that I'm making in my column this week and I'd like to talk about is I think when we talk about the internet and disruption, we might be missing where the real disruption lies. We talk about e-commerce and the way that e-commerce has disrupted traditional stores and the shopping process, but I think focusing on the transaction is missing a larger point. One of the interesting things that we've seen with the evolution of the internet is the ability to get information about virtually anything that you like. If you are a fan of left-handed tennis rackets strung with Peruvian catgut, no, that's not really a thing. You can find a community, you can find a website that will solve that need. And one of the things that does is it allows consumers to get information that is highly targeted and focused on their own specific lifestyle needs. Now that's a kind of antithetical to the traditional business model. When you think about the way that we have historically set up stores, whether it's a furniture store or a department store, is the goal has always been to address the widest possible audience, the broadest possible audience. The change here with the internet is that consumers, when they shop on the internet, are not looking necessarily for the broadest possible selection, although they may go to that place, but the goal is always to filter down, to develop filters that allow them to find things that are specific to their individual lifestyle, individual preference. And that's a significant thing because as we talk about the internet and some of the advice that we see people giving today about helping furniture retailers be more successful in a digital space, we talk a lot about making the internet the front door to your store. And I think in some ways that misses the point because your store is aimed in most cases at addressing a broad homogeneous audience. You try to present merchandise that is of interest to the broadest segment of consumers, whereas consumers when they're shopping the internet are looking for the greatest personalization experience they can get. So I think if we're going to be successful in that space going forward, what you need is not a front door to your store in the digital space, but 10 front doors. And to start thinking about how you can customize your marketing messages to diverse consumers. And that's, I think, going to be an interesting thing that retailers, as we start to become a little more nuanced in our approach to e-commerce and approach to digital content and more sophisticated in content strategies, I think that's something that retailers should be looking to address. And that brings to us, or brings me to another point, which is the role of content. When we look at a lot of retail social media these days, what we see is a lot of discussion around sales and product offerings. And I think those retailers who are finding themselves to be most successful in digital content or in the digital space, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, they are those who are providing solutions, general information that helps enhance the consumer's lifestyle. And I don't want to beat this term to death, but this goes back to the concept of holistic retail that I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. It's about content, and it's about taking content and finding what is specifically of interest to your consumer. So as we start to talk more about this and as we start to develop our content strategies for 2019, maybe give some thought to not necessarily reaching the broadest homogeneous audience, but the most narrow, most effective audience that you can find. Think about taking that concept of the internet being the front door to your store and see if you can't develop 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 front doors to your store that will address as many consumer segments as possible and allow the people who are most interested in what you have to offer to find what you have. So till after Thanksgiving, I'm Bill McLoughlin with Furniture Today, wishing you good business.